I'm Teisha Bader with Shalom TV's news update for Tuesday, July the 30th, 2013. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry gave a press conference today on the peace talks that began last night in Washington, D.C. between Israel and the Palestinians. With Chief Israeli negotiator Justice Minister Tzipi Livni on one side of him and lead Palestinian negotiator Erekat on the other, Kerry said it had taken a lot of work and a long time to reach this moment of possibility. He praised Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas for their courageous leadership, and also thanked President Obama for his leadership in setting this process in motion with his visit to the region this past spring. The president had met with Livni and Erekat earlier this morning at the White House, and Kerry called that meeting, as well as an earlier meeting between both sides without American mediators, very positive. Kerry stressed the urgency and importance of resolving the conflict and achieving the goal of two states for two peoples living side by side in peace and security during the press conference today.
I think everyone involved here believes that we cannot pass along to another generation the responsibility of ending a conflict that is in our power to resolve in our time. They should not be expected to bear that burden, and we should not leave it to them. They should not be expected to bear the pain of continued conflict or perpetual war. So while I understand the skepticism, I don't share it, and I don't think we have time for it. I firmly believe the leaders, the negotiators, and citizens invested in this effort can make peace for one simple reason: because they must. A viable two-state solution is the only way this conflict can end, and there is not much time to achieve it, and there is no other alternative.
Kerry also noted that the content of the negotiations will be kept confidential and that he is the only one authorized to make any statements to the press about them. The Secretary of State said peace talks will resume in either Israel or the Palestinian territories in 2 weeks, where he also stressed that all final status issues would be on the table, something Palestinian negotiator Erekat said he was glad for in his comments following Kerry's.
I'm delighted that all final status issues are on the table and will be resolved without any exceptions. And it's time for the Palestinian people to have an independent, sovereign state of their own.
Livni spoke at the conference as well, where she said that despite the difficulties, she was hopeful.
Now, I hope that our meeting today and the negotiations that we have relaunched today will cause, I hope, a spark of hope, even if small, to emerge out of cynicism and pessimism that is so often heard. It is our task to work together so that we can transform that spark of hope into something real and lasting.
The Times of Israel reports, citing the Bulgarian press, that parts of the bomb used in the Burgas terror attack last summer that killed 5 Israeli tourists and a Bulgarian bus driver were smuggled into Bulgaria on a train from Poland. Bulgarian media reported yesterday that the remote control and detonator for the bomb were smuggled on a train from Warsaw, hidden in backpacks filled with tourist gear, like cameras and cell phones, in June of last year, a month ahead of the attack. As we reported to you last week, the Bulgarian Interior Ministry had published photos of 2 suspects involved in the attack, identifying them as Australian citizen Meliad Farah and Canadian citizen Hassan El Haj Hassan, both born in Lebanon. According to Bulgarian Daily Trud, Farah picked up the components from the train after it reached Bulgaria and assembled the bomb. Farah then allegedly transported the bomb in a car rented under a fake American driver's license. The identity of the suicide bomber who carried out the attack and was killed in the blast remains unknown. Israel Radio reported that Israeli Minister of Defense Moshe Ya'alon has postponed the draft of thousands of Haredi or ultra-Orthodox yeshiva students into the IDF this summer. The state prosecutor informed the High Court of the defense minister's decision, saying that Ya'alon had canceled the summer recruitment orders since the new draft bill is still in legislation, and he did not want any interim orders to interfere with the bill going through. A bill including Haredi or ultra-Orthodox Jews in Israel's mandatory draft passed its first reading in the Knesset last week. And before it becomes law, the bill will be sent back to a Knesset committee and go through second and third readings on the Knesset floor. Well, one of the original lists of Jews rescued by German industrialist Oskar Schindler has yet to find a buyer. As we reported to you earlier this month, one of the Schindler's lists was placed on eBay with an opening bid of $3 million by California collectors Gary Zemet and Erekat. And while more than 500,000 people viewed the auction, no bids were made on the 14-page historic document. The sellers said they would not be relisting the document at a lower price, but were in active discussions with several parties regarding its possible purchase. And that's Shalom TV's news update for Tuesday, July the 30th, 2013. I'm Teisha Vader.